I know it's not an advanced group.
Ago. Looks like I'm here now. How is it? And me. Regard all conditioned dharmas like this. How is it so? We don't like it quite as much now, do we? Maybe not quite. Like, oh yeah. And me. Because this me that looks like a body, this body is not this body. Is it? It is not. It's not true. They're not the same bodies. This breath, not this breath. So what are we holding to establish this sense of self? This mind, not this mind. Travis said it, these feelings, this feeling, not this feeling. So what do we hold as the me who we see as permanent? What are we all clutching? The delusion of self, the delusion of a constancy, of a permanence, of a fixed nature, of an identity. We reify, deify the self as if it is permanent. And then you get a knee operation or you get a diagnosis. And what do? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's happening every breath moment. All conditioned dharmas like this. And we don't like the idea. And we mistake the memory, which, by the way, is pixelated illusion. It's not even real. You didn't get the whole story. You caught what you caught in that moment, didn't you? You got the conditions you could make contact with. And by the way, that wasn't accidental. That was conditioned. You saw what you saw because you know how to see it and you were looking for it. Besides, you have training. That's the conditioning. To go, well, then I saw that. And what I decided when I saw that is that it was my fault. Well, you're trained for that. You've been doing that forever. Or it wasn't my fault. You've been doing that forever. Or it was their fault. You've been doing that forever. Right? And then we call it Dharma. And we say that's the truth. It's not the truth. It may be a piece of a truth, the shooting star, the cloud, the bee buzz. There may be an aspect that you have captured. But to see most clearly would mean that you would see beyond this idea of self, wouldn't you? You couldn't just see self and mistake it for the Dharma. You would see it as a part, right? So we can hear the birds, but the birds are not the only reality arising, are they, this moment? Not at all. There has to be a hearer, there has to be an ear, and then there has to be a mind to perceive it. And that's changing also every moment, right? And so then, with the reality of this as the essential Dharma, where do we rest? Where do we rest? Change, 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 change. In space. In the bardo. We rest in the bardo. We rest in that state, space. There's really no word for it, is it? It's kind of a falsity, really, as we're even trying to name it. It makes me smile, doesn't it? Because it's a little bit of a joke. Like we can capture that. Right? And so then we use other kinds of words the infinite, the boundless. We describe it because we cannot, it's ineffable. We cannot capture it, can we? There's no, even the word space. I said that to Gregory Kramer, who was offering me his guidance along with Ezra Beta. Look at that, these two teachers offering me support during my 30-day retreat. And Gregory Kramer had one question for me at the end. He said, "What did you see? What did you see in these 30 days?" And the truth was, I couldn't have answered. I couldn't have answered. Because how do you describe or name that? Really? And so we smile, don't we, at it? Like, yeah, we all try to get our hands on that somehow. Right? And the descriptions are not, the words are not wrong. The descriptions are not failed. They are just incomplete, right? They're not failed. And so the chant says, look around, remember. And really what? Remember what? You. Remember how this really is for you. And then rest in the truth of it. And so it's, as Pema describes it, like a free fall. Continuous free fall. Isn't it then? Everything just in its dissolving and appearing pretty continuously. And then at some point, what I notice is that you stop screaming. One moment that you stop screaming, ah! And recognize that this is the path. That this is the path. And as Joko used to say to me, and I never understood what she meant until maybe the last 5 years. And then you realize there is no ground. There is nothing to hit because nothing's solid. Not even that. Not even this idea that there's the wall or the ground or it's not permanent, fixed, or solid either. Right? Good news or bad news?
Good news.
Good news, bad news.
I'm gonna go with good.
Yeah. When we capture, experience the moment, it's all good news then, right? We just in that instead of we're going and the bad news is we're gonna see grip, grab, clench, and can we feel for ourselves then? Because that's the loosening. That's the loosening. We're all going to grip. We're all going to grab. We're all going to tighten. We're all going to contract. We've all got that brainstem with that capability, but it's not really the problem. The problem is we believe it, don't we? We buy in to, I should be in distress. This is the mistake. Then we grip the grip, don't we? It isn't the grip itself that's our problem. We grip the grip. We make it mine. We make it me. And now we suffer. And it's guaranteed. Now the suffering is guaranteed, isn't it? And so we practice. And the reason for this chant is to hear it again and again. So we're going to recite it every day now to remember, if I am suffering, it's the rope burn from my grabbing something. And mostly it's me. Me like this, me like that, me not like this, me not like that. And then we move forward into deciding things about others, don't we, from it. You like this, and you like that. And now we have samsara, the cycle of birthing and deathing, continuous suffering now. And then I hear people say things like, my life is shit. No, it's not your life. It's the mind that wanted it some other way. Right? Okay, here we go. Can everyone see it on that? We won't be perfectly timed for this with the people on Zoom. You're a little delayed, so we're going to leave you on mute if you don't mind. And just follow me for the first time, and then we'll all find a path, a chorus together. Like a shooting star, a visual fault, a candle flame, an illusion, a dewdrop, a water bubble, a dream, a lightning bolt, a cloud. Regard all conditioned dharmas like this. All right, thank you all. You can put that down. We're going to practice now. And so then where's the practice? The practice is, it comes in two forms. There's two sides, like two sides of a mirror. There's the noticing the objects. That's a part of the practice and path. If you don't know what's arising, you don't have a sense of the constellation of it, it can itself be distressing because it's continuous arising and passing of objects. You can place the mind simply in the object. And the one we're practicing with most commonly then is the breath. Why? Ungraspable, nothing to hold on to. You can't anchor exactly to the breath because it's continuous in its flow. And then, or you can rest in open space. And the practice that we're doing now is finding the breath, anchoring to the object, the arising, passing breath, and then opening into open space, where we can then see, oh, the breath in open space. And then we finally just see the open space everywhere. The impenetrable, the unmovable, the unshakable. It's words like that, that no disturbance, no reaction, no distress happening with this coming and going. And then with long practice, like in retreat practice, the truth is even the breath falls away. Even the breath itself falls away, leaving us resting in open space. And so let's see if we can make contact with that. So just feeling into the body that is this body, this moment. And so for some, there's a little coolness, someone else maybe a little warmth. But that sense of solidness begins right here, doesn't it? Even though right now, there are cells proliferating and cells dying. We are a constant fluctuation of birthing and deathing. And yet there is sufficient constancy by appearance that we can get the sense of this body sitting. And even then, in the solidity of the body, we can sense the reality of the flow as known by the breath. And so we rest the attention lightly in the rise and in the fall. And one of the humorous things for me is we think it's the birth and death of the breath instead of the birth and the death of us. We see the breath as coming and going and don't realize that the me is coming and going. And if you knew it was you, this appearance, you would greet it with curiosity, with openness, with fresh eyes. There would be no breath that could feel boring or familiar, completely new. New breath, new you. And then, as interesting as the breath itself is, so is this arising self, this arising mind that greets it. But to begin, the breath is enough. Regard all conditioned dharmas like this in its coming and going, beginning with the breath. As we bring attention to the breath, we begin to notice that there's some sense of a breather. And this is the beginning of our suffering. Once we establish a breather, there is a me. And so with each out breath, then we pay attention. It is not only the breath that dissolves, it is all sense of the solid, the fixed, the me. And so we let it dissolve. And we let it dissolve and we stay in attention here. It's not just dissolving, it's dissolving into vast open space. And you may feel successful in a moment, like I did that pretty well. I kind of allowed the body mind to dissolve, rested in open space. And that's you solidifying once again, forming the I, the me, that's now dissolving well. And in the recognition, we smile. We're once again liberated. And then we can take the reality that we can recognize that all dharmas are conditioned, and we can take it beyond the breath into the sounds. Attending to the rising sound, the passing sound, and the silence that pervades. And we rest in the silence. And we see if we can't lighten up a bit. sounds we like and sounds we don't. And just notice that this too is conditioned. We're not trying to get rid of the conditioning. We're simply recognizing. But don't mistake it for you. Just know it as conditioning, preference, bias. And we simply let that come and go as well. And then we recognize not only are there objects arising and passing, but there are thoughts, opinions, beliefs, preferences, as I said, about the objects. And can we regard these in the same way, simply conditioned phenomenon? Not me, not mine. The very liking, not liking, conditioned dharmas like this. And then you might even have feelings arising about the thoughts, about the object, conditioning on conditioning on conditioning. Or you may have some bodily reaction to the saw or the clank or the bird. And then we grab on there. Oh, this is me. And with each breath, then we notice where we're hooked, where we fix, where we try to establish that solid ground. And then we smile. Once seen, we are no longer caught. And then we find ourselves wide open. brand new. One breath at a time. Bow the dewdrop, the breath, and me. So then, why retreat? Why bother? Training. Because you know more with 10 minutes than you do with 5. You see it again and again and again and again. Then you know more with 15 than you did with 10. And then you see it again and again and again. And then with 30 minutes, you know more, you see more. With 40, you know more still. And with about 55 minutes in, you're pretty clear.
So many opportunities.
So many.
Nourishing.
Yes. It's nourishing, Leanne said. It's training, Carrie said. It's liberating. And the more we can stay in continuous practice, the more we remember. The more we remember. Not me. Not me. I don't have to get caught up in this. And we suffer less. That's the point, isn't it? That's the whole point, is to suffer less. And then what do we do instead? We get busier. We do more. We construct more. We identify more with it all. And we suffer more. We can't even put the coal down, the hot coal right in your hand. Can't even put it down. It's like glued to you now. Because I've gotta, and then I gotta, and then I gotta. And it's not the gotta that's the problem. It's the I that we put in front of it. Right? Which said what? I am not sufficient in my being. I have to tap dance. I have to do things. And not that we won't choose that, right? There's all these opportunities, but we will choose it from a different place. There will be no I making in it. There will simply be doing what needs to be done. That's it. Then. Doing what needs to be done. What is that? Whatever's right here. That's it. And then where's the suffering? When we remember that. Where's the suffering? There isn't any. There's just doing what needs to be done as best I can know it, see it, experience it now. We do that. And then next breath. And our habit is so pervading. Did I do it? Did I do it right? Did I do it enough? If I thought about it a little more, I could figure out how to do it better next minute, next breath. Then I could get that right. Then I could do that some more. And then we keep failing in that because we can only be here now. There's right. That's it. And I don't know either. I don't know what's coming, what's here either. And I do know the habit of mind. I do know that. I do know the habit of mind is to make it something about me. They called me, they didn't. Papancha. They like me, they don't. I'm good enough, I'm not. And then I could practice, we become the bargainers in the addiction. I would practice more if what? I had more time, but I don't have any. Where to go? You gave it away. The conditioned mind when I can't because I gotta. And the seeing that's beautiful. Right? Seeing it's beautiful. Because then for the moment we can drop the coal. A little bit. And then what? We sit and people go a whole day. That's a lot. That's a lot of time. And what am I really going to get from that? Behind. I love that, Leanne. Get behind. All that stuff to do. Now I'm behind. Now I'm going to have to hurry up, catch up, do more, run faster. Right? And so we think, oh, I don't want to do that to myself. That would really mess things up. And so what's your reason? What's your storyline? What is it? Somebody needs me. I need to be. I got to do. Right? I had a great excuse for a very long time. I had kids. Oh my God, were they fabulous. My kids were better every time I went into retreat. Every single time. Young, old, in the middle. They were better. I was better, they were better for every single one of those days. But I used it for a really long time. Get the new people.
I'm getting ready for.
I'm getting ready for, Yeah.
For a trip,
for a trip,
yeah.
for something,
For some,
for work. Right? What else? I was going into retreat. I'll tell you a funny story. It's not going to feel funny to you. Then you're going to go, oh my God, that's so cruel. It's not. My dad was here and I was going into retreat. And he said, what if I die while you're gone? He was sick and we knew he was dying. What if I die while you're gone? What if? And I don't remember exactly what I said. I just remember he went, okay. I said, I don't know what I could do, Dad, other than hold you like I already do and love you like I already do. What else could I do? And then what better place to be, really, than that heart, right? What better place to be? And so what is it you think you have to be doing? The full catastrophe. The kids, the car, the dog, the work, the bills, the responsibilities. And what if you didn't? What if you didn't do it? What would happen? I don't know either. It's nice to feed your dogs. You know, it's a good thing. It's nice to pay the mortgage.
I think sometimes it's like self-care choices. For me, it's gotta have a walk every day. Sit down, I'm gonna go nuts, and you know, it's all kind of set.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping is right up there too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, that's what it's been for me. Is kind of choosing which piece. And sometimes, I've, you know, my practice has gone over here, or walks gone over here. Sleep has become.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's those items and which is going to be best for me right now. And I guess you just have to be okay with that.
I think we think
that.
we have to pick, but I'm not that
Right.
confident.
Right. So I guess I would kind of push back and go, God, sometimes I feel like I have to pick,
Yeah.
you know.
Where do you get that? What are you putting in there that doesn't give you enough time in a 24-hour day for sleep and presence?
Well, I mean, okay. Really stupid stuff.
Mostly. Yeah. Not that walks, it's not that it's not
The
good.
TV show that's really
Yeah.
good that I stay up for.
Yeah.
Then get to bed on the night.
Yeah.
Get everything done.
Yeah.
I don't like
I know. I don't like the
I see
truth
the point.
either. The truth is very annoying.
Sometimes there are things that
Choose.
choose, yeah, like my son getting married, that
Yeah. Yeah, you made a choice, and there's no problem with the choice making. It's not really from choice that we struggle, it's from habit, isn't it? The choices are, right, usually pristine and somewhat clear, and
And you can practice on your own too. Right?
you're practicing every moment
Every moment.
is a possibility. So you can walk and practice and right as well. It's not an either or kind of thing. We slice that up pretty nicely though, don't we? I could walk or be present. Well, there's such a thing as a walking meditation, folks. Isn't there? There's a breathing meditation, a walking meditation, there's a wedding meditation, right? There's really presence every moment possibility, but we get caught in them. That's the problem. It's not the things aren't the problem. The choices aren't the problem. The walk's not the problem. It's at the either oring that's actually our problem.
The truth is, many of the truth is that what ends up happening is even when I think about, no, I'm not next time. I'm not going to do this. I could never not do it in my body just because of it. Like if I'm here and if it's for a day or 2 days or how long, it's like I can't not choose.
Right. Yeah, you can't even find the excuse,
Right.
can you? It doesn't even work anymore.
But there are choices
Yes.
that I have to do.
Well, you
or things
choose.
that I have to do, but to not.
Into a group. It's a little bit like what you were saying earlier. You were trying to describe something that you can't find in words. So I am choosing not to be at retreat. I'm holding out the whole, right? I'm holding out sadness because for every retreat, whether I sat in in a biting piece or whether it was just a hot mess the whole time, whether or not I was different. And I could see the sky a little more, I could see the leaves a little more. Again, I'm gonna mess it up with words. But I understand that it's hard if you haven't been in a retreat to really see that, to feel that. There's a certain element, I'm gonna say, of trust that you walk into a retreat with the idea you don't know how it's gonna go. And yet, I don't know anyone who ever says afterwards, I really wish I had this time. Everybody goes, that was amazing. And you go home, you go, that was amazing. And they go, how? And I'm like, I don't know how to tell. I don't have, but I'm more present for you. And like you're saying, my joke is you don't like me better.
Mhm.
And I don't do it so that they like me better, but that is the reality.
Mhm.
So I do understand why it's hard to see it. Really seeing it so much. How do you feel from that? How it's very different. And there's nothing that compares to having everyone put you up. Because I will find spaces to sit while I'm gone. But it would be a different sit because I'm not in the room breathing next to you. I will know that you're all breathing, and that will be wonderful. But it would be better if you were sitting next to me. How much that's been to me all these years.
I used to, I sat by myself for a lot of years. I mean, a lot of years. And I was in active retreats often because that was part of the training. And I remember thinking, oh, why retreat? Because it's just going to be like people breathing. And then they're going to be farting. They're going to smell. And they're going to eat weird. Really, I'm better by myself. I needed to be there more than anybody because I saw everything else as an obstacle. Everything was an obstacle. It disturbed my stillness, my silence. This is not the point of practice, by the way. That's not it. That is not it. Don't mistake it. So I do know some of you think, I'm better on my own because then I can just be me, do me in the perfect way I have constructed it. And that's the person just like me who really needs to be there to see that actually I'm completely intolerant of life. I have gotten so good at concentration, at abiding, that everything is a distress. Everything is a problem. Everything is not. Like, why would I sign up for that? For days, oh my God, at a time. How crazy. And it was exactly where I needed to be. Exactly what I needed to see. That I had used my practice like a bubble. Bubble wrap. As long as life didn't touch me, I was good. That's not the point either. So we sit together, we sit together, and we hold each other in all of that transience. People coming in late, like, really? You couldn't get here on time? The bell ringer doesn't ring the bell right. Really? You couldn't just ring the bell? No. You did it right. Too loud, too soft, too early, too late. Beautiful things to see. Isn't it beautiful? I just watched a palm frond. Perfectly, we're going to add that to our list of transients. Gigantic palm frond just
I
came
heard it.
tumbling down
Oh my
through
gosh,
the sky.
Yeah, I heard it and I was like, bird.
It was
That was
captivating.
really
I was
cool.
like, that's a big bird.
For me, the thing about retreat is silence, the sitting with your own monkey mind. And when I tell people, I'm going to go on a retreat for 5 days, and I'm going to be silent, I'm not talking. You look at me like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
How could you go without talking for 5 days?
Yeah.
And I know that there was a secretary in my zoo. He said, are you still doing that silent shit?
Yeah.
10 years later, she still doesn't get it.
No.
She's retired now. You're retired, you didn't come to retreat.
This is a common experience. The secretary is, I couldn't do that. I don't have what it takes to do that. And that is such an unfortunate falsity. You absolutely have what it takes. You forgot that you do is true, but you do have it. You are capable. No doubt.
5 days.
Absolutely.
5 days.
5 days. You are absolutely capable. Now, you may not like every one of those moments because you'll go in going, really, I could. Well, no doubt. It's unequivocally accurate. You are capable of this. And you will notice the habit mind in it. The one who goes, get me out of here. Just get me a watermelon. Just get me to, right? Sitting with myself is the one thing I cannot do. I'm better on a walk or run. I'm better sharpening knives in the kitchen. I remember one of those Zen retreats. It's like, they said, any knife sharpeners? And I could get out of a sitting. I was like, I can sharpen knives. I have no idea how to sharpen.
Right there with you.
Me, get me, pick me. Pick me.
I remember first
You did. You did.
You're not there. You know that. but it makes me want to cry, but I wasn't. crying. It was really rough and scary, and that was what it was. And I was, I mean, it wasn't, it was a lot. And even afterwards, you know,
Yes. Shakiness.
the shape, but, you know, it's like back. That was the only time that maybe certain moments were comfortable.
Right.
A lot of way moments.
Everybody has a panic attack. Don't we? Really? Everybody goes, I don't know if I can stand me that long. Really?
And I think that's it. There's a lot of fear around being discovered.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't distract myself.
There I am. Me and me right there. And then me and me some more. And who wants to be with me that much? Not me. Who wants to sit with those spinning thoughts, with that habit mind? Not me. And what would be the point anyway? Because everybody knows some truth, don't we? We all know that's not easy, because it is going to twirl you upside down, isn't it? It is. Right?
I think, for within the silence, I sometimes get caught up in like the philosophy, the thought process, the verbalizing what it is and talking about it. And when you sit in silence, it's almost like the answers kind of appear in their own way. You find different discoveries without all of the talking.
We could even really say that the thinking simply gets in the way. Actually, that there is no philosophy that's going to save you. There is no understanding that sets you free. It is, in fact, a way of being. And it takes a while to unwind from all that thinking, chattering, philosophizing, right? Congratulating, condemning. We got all of us in there, don't we? And yeah, it takes a while to unglue from all of that. And so Brad said something that I love. What do you imagine you could run into that could be worse than being some distance from yourself? What are you thinking you could run into in sitting that could be worse than not being connected to yourself? What would it be? The panicked you, the murderous you? What self are you running from? Who is it? And remember, it's a mirage anyway. And it takes you a while. That's why we go into retreat, to go, that's just a story. That's just a memory. That's just an experience. And remember, most of them not very correct, pixelated. And then how do we find the way to happiness? Because we're all sitting here wanting ease, wanting peace, aren't we? And happiness. How do we find the way to that without the willingness to be with our own heart minds? Right. And then how many walks would you need to take? Well, you'd walk and walk and walk. And you'd never get there, would you? And walk and walk and walk. Walking's not the problem. Because I have used every excuse throughout all time, coming from all directions. And they have never been correct. I have not been at retreats for right reasons. Also, wasn't right. And that's okay too then, isn't it? Which is, there is a real reason. And it's not with excuse, it's not with explanation. It's just, I'm going to be at the wedding. I'm going to be at that funeral. I've got to go to that work thing. If I want to work, that's going to be, it's fine. But then there's no feeling about that. There's, right? It's just, this is what it is for now. It's not a problem. And then you figure out how to get to the next one, actually, don't you? You go, when's that next one? I better anchor up around that. And that's how I know the difference for myself. I go, okay, not like this moment, but then how do I open myself to that? And do I go by myself? Do I go with supports? How do I cultivate this in myself? And then know that supports are going to always be available, always available to you. We will support you. But I don't have too many people ask me, I will tell you. I don't have very many people asking me. I can't do that, so let's work together on figuring out how I can create some time and space for myself. Doesn't come up. It's just like, I couldn't. And again, that's good. It's right. I couldn't. And then how do I? And then you go, oh my gosh, it's been 3 years. I just haven't been able to get there. And now I'm just looking at you. Huh? How is it? How did that happen? And that's just now not true, is it? That's just not accurate anymore. How I couldn't be there that weekend. Sure. Right? That's, of course it is. These are real things. And we make choices and we do have priorities. And if you're giving somebody a kidney transplant, I got it. If you're at a wedding of your son, of course. If your parent is dying and you say, I can't be here, I'm making the choice to be there. That's the practice. Right. Isn't it? That's right.
Be there, right?
But then you're there. Exactly. Then you're there. No, you don't. It's not a problem. No, it's a non-issue. You go, I made the choice. I'm very clear about it. Right. And you can always feel the truth of it yourself. It isn't for anybody else to know, or is it? It's really not. So there's a parable. I'm going to share it with you, and then we'll sit for our final sitting. It's a koan, actually. And this was the koan. Someone is in retreat. And of course, in these parables, it's always a monk, right? But that's us. The practitioner, right, is us. And the practitioner is in retreat and then gets a call that the parent, one of his parents, I believe it was in this parable, his mother is dying and is asked for him. And the koan is, what is the right practice? What is right practice? So what is it?
Whatever you choose.
Whichever you choose. Not necessarily, but the choice point is relevant because there's a consciousness, right? A reflection, a contemplation, we could say in the choice, maybe, not always, because lots of choices are made simply out of habit. What is right practice? There's not a right or wrong, but it would have characteristics, wouldn't it? And what would those characteristics be? Whichever you picked, what would determine it as right practice?
Being
Present.
present.
Presence,
Mhm.
and what would that allow for? Clarity, insight, understanding, compassion, wisdom. You would work from that, right? The choice from that, whichever then you would choose. You would stay or go? You would stay or you would go? And it would all be right. That's right. You would be the one. Who else but you could know it? And that's not, it is not the teachings here for me to decide what's right for you at all. I have enough trouble deciding for me.
Go. Maybe
Yes,
some other
yes.
to go and for
They're gonna, the retreat people are gonna think I'm not devoted to the practice or the teachings or the, right? And they're all, that's all just about something else or how I look or what's the right thing. None of that will get you there. None of that will get you there. So how do you know then? Where do you know from? Whether to stay or go? What'd you say, Lisa? Heart mind. The most open, the most available, the most present, the most loving, the most compassionate. Heart mind knows. Then you would do what you do, right? And you would do it with a certain ease. As I could say to my father, right? I just knew it will be okay. It will be. And that's why we practice. And that's why we commit to continuous practice. And because then that light is illumined for more of the moments. And we hang on to that and can continue to cultivate for ourselves and then for others. Most loving, most kind, most present. Okay. So, be with yourself. Take some time. See what's right practice for you. Yeah, if that's right for you. And no, we will support you. We will support you. And if you can't do that, then, well, let's talk about what you can do. Right? So let's sit together for a minute. So watch the judging mind. It's so available, isn't it? The condemner, the critic, the demander, all really there to protect us. This is not a call to do more. It's a call to be more. And that is often cultivated by doing less. And then we can sit right in the juxtaposition. We can let go of all the demands, all the supposed to's. We do it too much and too often. And we can simply rest in the wave of the breath. We can find the way back to the body. Feel the sense of the release of the out breath. And abide. With each out breath, letting go of the have do's, the supposed to's, the, well, it'll look bad if I don't. And then right practice, this very moment is recognizing that habit mind. And just like a shooting star, a visual fault, a candle flame, an illusion, a dewdrop, a water bubble, a dream, a lightning bolt, a cloud. Regard all thoughts like this. May we dedicate the merits, the blessings, and the benefits of this practice today in all practice to the end of suffering and the realization and promise of true abiding, unborn, undying happiness and freedom. May we offer this to ourselves, to our friends, to those we love, to those who are hungry, lonely, tired. May we know that this practice and then all practice is a contribution to its end. And then may we endeavor wholeheartedly to practice each moment, each breath until all beings are free. May this practice and all practice contribute so be it. Thank you all for your practice, this moment, and in all continuing moments. All continuing moments. You don't have to be on a cushion. You don't have to wear a halo or shawl. Really, all accoutrement. Not really the point. Thank you, everyone online. Thank you. We'll see you guys on Tuesday for chapter 3 in How We Live is How We Die by
Yeah,
Pema.
this
I'll look
one's-
forward to seeing you
That's
then.
my turn.